Well, hello again. It's good to see you. James McBride. Let's take a look at going nuclear. Let's say that we had a tragedy strike on our computer and we no longer trust it. We think we've got the virus cleaned off, but we just like, you know what? I don't trust it. I think I just want to start over. A lot of people will recommend that. So you may have friends that are just like, I would just format the drive and start over. They say things like that. And really, you don't want to do that. These days, Windows 11 is good at making sure things are going to continue to run and not really get too slow and but people have that fear. They have that fear that, well, I had this on my computer, maybe it's still there. Well, if you're running Windows Defender or another virus scanning software, then it's going to let you know if something else is running. And I know, yeah, there's still a chances, 0-day viruses, something that it missed, and on and on. So if that ends up happening to you, you've copied off all your documents and videos and photos, and you've got those on a drive and you've run a scan on those to make sure that there's no viruses on that. And then you're like, okay, well, it's time. It's time to just reset this PC. So we're going to take a look at the steps for resetting the PC, and we're also going to look at another tool called System Restore. So we're going to take a look at both of those things here on this computer. Reset PC. You can actually go into the system and find this information, or you can type reset here, and that's what it's called, reset this PC. That takes you into, as I said, the system settings. You'll notice that here's settings, here's home. They've automatically clicked on system for us and gone to recovery. And then we have some options, and notice that the default here is reset. Choose to keep, remove personal files, then reinstall Windows. What'll happen is when we hit this reset, it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Would you like to keep your personal files or would you like to remove everything? Usually, when people have gotten to this point in their life, they remove everything. Now, clicking on this is not going to cause that to happen right away because it's going to come up and say, hey, what do you want to do here? We've got a system right here on your computer, or we can go and download the newest version of Windows and reinstall it. So it asks you some questions, and even when you finally get to the point where it's really ready to start, it's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? All your files will be gone. So right here is just, okay, cloud download or local and reinstall. Local reinstall is going to be faster than cloud download. That's going to go out, get the brand new version of whatever Windows is available out there before it actually starts any of this process. Most people are unaware that on your computer, we're going to take a look at, that's on my main screen over here. So let me pull it up. I'm going to pull up disk management. And of course, if you have something like IOMI Disk Manager, then you can see it too. But here is where we're booting. This is the C drive right here. And you can see that there is this 100 megabytes here and 730 megabytes here. This is, as it says, the recovery partition. So this is going to help us boot into a special mode. This is going to help us restore our system back to what it was when we first started, whatever that happens to be. So these special hidden partitions have this information, or volumes, as many would say. These volumes have that special hidden information, and that's where this is going to pull out of in order to reset this whole computer. And it will take a while. So if I was to click that and move on and say yes, it's like, okay, here we go. And it reboots the entire system and then says, I'm in the process of resetting this machine, come back later because it's going to take a while. Now, there are times when that fails. That has happened to me. I've seen it happen a lot, but you won't know that that's going to happen until you actually try. Of course, keep my files is also what a lot of people do. They're afraid the virus is hanging around in Windows someplace, or it's damaged Windows files and somehow Windows doesn't know. And so they go, okay, well, I'll go ahead and reinstall Windows, but I'm going to keep all my files. I'm going to do that. Same options. If I click local, then it's going to go through the same thing. Except it's going to leave, it's not this super AI smart thing that looks through your system and goes, oh, these are all the personal files. What it's really doing is saying, well, all those personal files are all kept in one location or should be kept in one location. And that location is going to be on the local hard disk down into users. And that's what it's going to say, oh, that's all your local, not your local, this is all your personal information, your documents, your downloads, and then that's what it's going to try to save for you. Of course, I'm not going to do that. Again, that reboots the system, goes in and starts to do its thing. And that's what you would want to do if you really believe this system has been damaged. Some people believe that a virus or a Trojan can harm their system physically, and that is extremely, extremely difficult. So I just want to point that out that that's not a very common factor, a thing to worry about. In order to damage the internal components, it really has to be able to get in to places that it can't get into. Except, these days people have that fear mongering that, it's like, oh, it totally damaged my computer. I just had to buy a new one. Anytime I hear anything like that, which is not very common, I'm just like, what? I don't even know what to say. And usually I'll just bite my tongue because it's like, you did not need to buy a new computer. I would have loved to have seen that computer and see how that damage happened, because that doesn't happen. That's not the way it works. So don't buy into that. You can run into, you go into a fix-it shop and you're like, oh, well, you damaged, you're going to have to buy a new one. What? Huh? That's not, I mean, that's like not even a 1%. That's like a 0.00001% chance of that happening. I would really like to see that machine. I'd like to dissect what occurred. All right. So you can also fix problems using a Windows Update. Now, this is outside of what we've been talking about, but if your system's not booting correctly, a Windows Update might have messed it up, then you could go this route and reinstall it. And then there's an advanced startup. So there's different ways you can do a system restore, but normally you're not going to do that. That is our reset this PC, or a system reset. That's what that is. Now let's take a look at dealing with restore points. So Microsoft has this thing, and it's a huge database. We're not going to really get into too much of this. This is in operating systems class. It's got this thing known as the registry. And the registry holds, it's a big database that holds everything about the system, what the backdrop is, how this little window appears, everything. Every single thing is kept in the registry, and sometimes the registry can get messed up. Where this really fits into this material is sometimes if the virus or the Trojan is actually smart enough, it will damage this system registry that you see on the screen, and it will actually delete older copies of this and make it very difficult for the machine to work right again. In that case, you usually should just do a reset. But there are some options. You can actually have snapshots taken of that registry and all the settings on the machine so that it can be restored back to its proper state really quickly. Really, it is very fast. Okay, so I'm going to click. Sorry, this is going to actually show up on my other screen here. I'm going to right click on the start button. That's what you want to do. As a matter of fact, I will just switch sharing of the screen here so you can see it. So stop that share and let's go to screen one. and right here. Now we can go to System. System, now that popped up on the other screen. And so we're going to go back over to System. System takes you to System About. You jump back to screen 2. There we are. Takes us to settings, just like where we were before, except we weren't in the reset. This is not the reset part. So we go to System About, and it tells you all about your computer, which is fantastic. If you ever really wanted to know, you can rename it right here. You can take a look at all the specifics right there. It's fantastic. We want to go to System Protection and see what shows up for our system protection. That pops up this little window. System protection is this tab. So we got a few tabs here. System protection. So when you click on that, it takes you right to here, and it says that protection is on for the C drive, which is normal. And then for this D drive, my second drive, it's actually off, which it's not the system. Notice this one says system. So it's off on this one because it's not the system. If you hit System Restore, then you get this screen that basically says, hey, this can help you fix some problems because it's basically a backup of all the registry stuff. And so if you begin it, you can see here it's got Windows Update happened, and there's also a C++ that was installed. So you could select one of these. You could say, okay, well, this is on today. So this was done today. And let's go ahead and go next, hit next. And then at that point, it will try to take this restore point and put it back onto the system. It does not mess with your personal data at all. And you can also scan and say, what is going to be affected by this? What will stop working? Most of this has moved over to, when we talk about resetting a PC. So let me show you where most of this is moved to. This one. So that's where most of this is moved. There's an automated way to go through this. But I wanted to show you, you can configure restore settings, manage the space, and so on. So we can say, let's go ahead and configure one, and it's turned on. And you can tell it how much space to actually use up for this. So it's going to use up to 10 gigs, which that's really enough. And then the all important one right here, create. Working. Create a restore point. Now that takes just a few seconds to do. And what has happened now is it's created a restore point of when I say the system has been working, and it's been working just fine. I have no problems. And if I ever need to, I can come back to that point. And that lasts for 6 months or a year. They may have updated it to a year. No, it's 60 days. So 60 days, that restore point will be there. And there's actually software that will do this for you. But this is really what you're looking for. This is a really quick way to restore the registry if something has gotten in there. So you're looking at your machine going, wow, that Trojan really did a number on this machine, and I'm not sure it's going to work right ever again. So I guess I'm going to reset my computer, which is really, really a big task. And again, sometimes it errors out, but man, that's going to take a while. What I would do is, because I know where this restore point is, I would every so often just create a restore point. Now, lots of times you don't need to. Lots of times you can actually just go and say, take this prior, the system restore, and it'll have it listed. And see, there's working that I just put in, and you go, oh, okay, so let me go back to this point. And then you just tell it to go next, next, next. It sits there and spins its wheels for a while and then says, okay, we need to restart. You just start your computer and you're like, oh, all those weird, freaky problems went away that Trojan caused. Because the Trojan went and messed around with that database. And you basically said, let's go get an old database and put it on. And I don't mean an old one from years ago. I mean just a one before this happened, a few days ago. So I wanted to show you that. That's kind of an advanced thing that you can do. But you need to know that there's stuff here for you. You can do this. You really can. And there's a lot of videos. It's not like I'm um, talking about something that nobody's ever done before. There's lots of videos on YouTube that'll say, hey, this is how you reset your PC. So if you need a reminder or you'd like to see what's going to happen before it happens, you can take a look at that. Hey, how do I restore do a restore point? It's all there. But yeah, you should know that that's there. So lots of times people get ripped off by, oh man, I got this machine and it's all messed up. Please take care of it for me. And they take it down to a shop and they do this. Oh, look at that. There's a restore point. I'll just put that restore point back on. Then they call you the next day, even though that only took like 5 minutes, and say, oh, it's ready for you. That'll be $200 when you could have just done it yourself with not spending that money. And then, of course, there's the reset, which that's what they're going to do. Hey, I'm going to have to reset your machine. It's that bad. That's what it is. Okay, here, let's reset it. As a matter of fact, I would just tell you honestly, there are a lot of shops that don't even know how to get to that restore point. And that's sad, but that's true. So that is what you do when you have to go nuclear, when things just look like it's too messed up. So let's just do something about this. That's what you got to do. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you later. Hopefully, take care of yourselves.